Hello everyone, welcome back to the Frontline Report channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. Picture this, deep in the Russian heartland, under the cover of night, a Ukrainian strike force moves silently. The target, a major Russian military base, thought untouchable. Suddenly, explosions rip through hangars, fires blaze, alarms scream. The moment has come. Ukraine strikes a strategic Russian base, and shock ripples through Moscow. That's the core of our story today with Putin shocked. Ukraine strikes strategic Russian base. We're going to walk through the exterior context of the strike, peek inside how it was executed, examine its performance, talk about safety and counter measures, highlight what makes this strike unique, look at the price or cost value equation, and then conclude with what it all means. Starting with the exterior, imagine the geography and strategic environment, a Russian base far behind front lines, perhaps an airbase or logistics hub secured by defenses, radar, perimeter fences, patrols, with the assumption of safety. Then comes the Ukrainian operation: drones, covert infiltrations, surprise entry points, multi-vector attack. For example, the operation known as Operation Spiderweb reportedly targeted multiple Russian airfields, including strategic bomber bases, thousands of kilometers inside Russian territory. The staging areas: Ukraine's hidden workshops, launch cells, mobile platforms, concealed drones, and launch sites just inside or near the border. The target base: hangars full of Russian bombers, storage bunkers, fuel depots, munitions magazines. The reaction: giant fireball, black smoke, local residents stunned. Russia forced into damage control, scrambling defenses. The exterior sets the scene of bold reach, surprise, and escalation. Ukraine isn't just defending anymore, it's going on the offensive into Russian territory, shifting the theater of war. Next, the interior view short to keep focus. Behind the scenes of this strike we find logistics, command, drone engineering, intelligence, targeting, infiltration. Ukrainian engineers, possibly working in dispersed workshops, assemble drones capable of long-range strike. Secret supply chains, covert launch platforms such as disguised trucks or hidden airstrips, remote control or semi-autonomous flight paths. Intelligence identifying key assets at the base: bombers, munitions storage, fuel tanks, mapping terrain vulnerabilities. Then the execution: drones launch, evade early warning or radar, strike their targets, trigger secondary explosions, then exfiltrate or self-destruct. That's the interior workflow in brief. When we evaluate performance, several metrics matter: depth of penetration, damage inflicted, surprise effect, cost efficiency, cascading impact. In the referenced Spiderweb operation, Ukraine struck multiple airfields, including the base hosting strategic bombers like the Tu-160, causing large explosions and visible damage. The performance value is high. Ukrainian drones traversed deep into Russian territory, hit heavily guarded targets, caused operational disruption. The surprise factor forces Russia to divert resources to defense rather than offense. The damage may reduce Russia's ability to launch long-range strikes. The execution shows that with relatively modest resources, Ukraine can impose significant strategic cost on Russia. On the other hand, performance is not perfect. Some drones will be shot down, defenses may adapt, and long-term structural impact may be limited if Russia rebuilds or shifts assets. But clearly, this strike demonstrates a qualitative shift, going from defensive operations to deep, strike offensive capability. The psychological shock is real for both Russia and the wider world. Next up, safety features and counter measures. From Ukraine's standpoint, launching unmanned drones means reduced risk to personnel. No pilots flying deep into enemy airspace. Covert launch platforms increase operator safety. Intelligence and planning reduce chances of failure. From the Russian defense side, their safety features include layered air defense systems, radar coverage, early warning networks, hardened bunkers, dispersed assets. But the Ukrainian strike exploited vulnerabilities, assets still concentrated, defenses optimized for missile/aircraft threats rather than mass drone swarm or ground-launched mobile drones. So the safety of the attacker Ukraine improves via unmanned systems and surprise. The defender Russia now must increase safety cost by improving defenses, dispersing assets, raising vigilance, which drains resources. In this fight, the safety equation favors the side that can operate with lower cost and risk. The strike forced Russia to divert more budget into defending what used to be safe zones. That in itself is a strategic safety benefit for Ukraine. Unique selling points. What makes this strike stand out and why is it significant? First, reach Ukraine striking deep, previously secure Russian bases. That signals not only capability but intent. Second, cost efficiency. Drones cost far less than manned aircraft or ballistic missiles, yet produce disproportionate effect. Third, surprise and asymmetry. The enemy expects defense. A strike like this flips the script. Fourth, psychological and strategic impact. It sends a message that no territory is immune, which has ripple effects on morale, politics, economics. Fifth, force multiplier. By forcing Russia to spend more on defense and repair, Ukraine may gain advantage with fewer resources. Sixth, innovation, showcasing how modern warfare can be shaped by agile, unmanned systems rather than simply brute force. The combination of these factors gives Ukraine a unique edge. This strike is more than tactical, it's strategic. Now we consider price in the broad sense, resources expended versus value gained. In a traditional sense, the cost of manned bomber sorties, cruise missiles, large air campaigns is enormous. In contrast, using drones to strike deep into enemy territory lowers cost and risk. For instance, Ukraine's use of covert drones shows they can achieve disruption for a fraction of cost. While exact dollar figures are not publicly detailed for each strike, analysts note the multiplier effect. Small investment, large return. Also, the cost to Russia goes up repairing infrastructure, replacing damaged aircraft, reinforcing bases, rethinking defense posture. All this adds up and shifts the economic burden. So when you ask price, you're really asking, what did Ukraine invest and what did Russia lose or have to invest to respond? The answer, Ukraine invested comparatively modest resources, while Russia now bears increased repair, defense, and replacement costs. The price for Ukraine is also protracted war and resource strain, but the strategic return appears favorable in this context. For our viewers, it's worth noting, modern warfare increasingly rewards lower cost, high-impact systems. In conclusion, the strike we're talking about, Putin shocked Ukraine strikes strategic Russian base, is more than a headline. It shows a shift in battlefield dynamics. The exterior context reveals a bold geographical reach. The interior mechanics show how innovation and covert tactics make it possible. The performance shows the capability, surprise, and disruption. The safety, risk equation tilts toward the attacker. The unique selling points underline why this matters. The price value dynamic shows how this kind of operation is efficient and strategic. For Ukraine, this marks a step toward taking the initiative. For Russia, it raises hard questions about rear vulnerability, asset concentration, and defense posture. For viewers who follow military tech, geopolitics, or the future of warfare, this is a case study of how unmanned systems and asymmetric tactics are redefining conflict. If you take away one principle, in modern war, access to deep territory isn't solely about size of force. It's about innovation, surprise, cost-effectiveness, and will. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Frontline breakdowns.